people wouldn't willingly follow you, you're not leading, you're just talking.
Never really set out to be a leader, and I'm just going to fill that spot where I can make a difference. You've never made a mistake. You've had unintended consequences and unintended results. It is really hard to be authentic, and it's really hard to be a leader because you get shot at a lot. Like for me, right. Death would be blending in. Everything is built in to beat the uniqueness out of us. The real estate business is hard is because you don't stand out from the herd. If they're not seeing your voice and hearing your voice and seeing your face and seeing your style, everything else is just words. There's an energy to what we do here. There's a feel to what we do here.
We know all real estate agents want to acquire clients consistently so that they can grow their business and income for that great lifestyle. This broadcast brings you the best and top people in the industry to support that quest. This is Dave Fanale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk-TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and Align, your premier real estate solution. Hello, hello, hello. This is really exciting. I got Russ Laggan on here. Damn, I'm so excited. So a little bit about Russ, man. So look.
I'll be easy on me here. Come on.
All right, so Russ is the VP of Growth at eXp Realty. He's the author of Be Followable, right? What a great book! It basically says if people wouldn't willingly follow you, you're not leading, you're just talking, and that's where we're starting today with Be Followable. But Russ, I want to ask you, in everything you've done in your life, you've done so many things. I mean, concrete countertop, hairstylist. Worked on a railroad, all these other things. There's authenticity, which really is what I said we're a little bit alike. Well, actually, we're a lot alike. And then how to make your work fun by being authentic. So there's so many things here that intrigue me about you and of course the whiteboard. There's no whiteboard behind you, man. What the fuck? I mean, what's going on?
It's right here. It's right there.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Good.
Listen to this podcast. So like in podcast mode, this is my podcast spot because most of the time I'm doodling pictures on my, it's almost impossible for me to have a conversation without doodling stick figures at some point to explain something. And the problem is if people are listening to this, they're like, I don't know what he's drawing. So well, like podcast mode, I'm like, okay, just remove the temptation to draw stick figures and geometric figures. So this is podcast mode, baby. Let's go.
That's
I mean, I can go whiteboard mode if you want. I'm happy to do it.
So let's get into, the authenticity having to do with all the things that you've done, man. So It's just really cool to talk to you, because we had to talk earlier in the week to just prep for this, and just learned a lot about you and reading the book Be Followable, which is just really cool.
Yeah, Dave, two things. Number one, 389.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Like if I'd known
this is the longest running.
I'm waiting for 400.
Okay, so this is the longest running live broadcast in real estate in the country. No question. Byron Lazine likes to argue with me, but he was off for a while. So I think he's at 384 now. So, but he doesn't do them live and he doesn't do them every week. So I got him beat. So anyways, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so let's dig back. So authentic, it's kind of funny, Dave, because it never really set out to be a leader, right? I kind of like, there's a spot where I can make a difference and I'm just going to fill that spot, right? And then there's another spot that I can make a difference and I fill that spot. And even today, if you say, hey, Russ, what's your highest and best drive? My highest and best drive is to make as big of a difference as I can in as many lives as I can, right? And everybody's like, oh, well, that's nice and sexy, altruistic. But it's not, it's never really been that as much as that's the way I explain how I make decisions, right? So, we got a big family issue going on this week, right? And I had an opportunity to make a difference and step into something that was a shit show. Memory issues with an aunt, just literally snapped and her memory shut off and literally had no idea where she was and who she was, right? So what do? You drop what you need, you drop what you do, and you just go, right? And my wife's like, you should have been a pastor. Like I went down that road. She's like, you still got that thing where you have to step in and help somebody when but it's kind of fundamentally the way I was wired. So my parents raised me very fundamental Christian, extremely fundamental Christian. And the hard part is as a youth growing up, it's like, I kind of get some of it, but like all I could see was the rules, right? It's like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. And then I kind of, the boy was like, you can't tell me what to do. Right?
Yeah.
So And I still don't like to be told what to do. So for me, it's like, I feel like I want to do the right thing at all times for as many people as possible. Do I always get it right? No, I get it. Oh God, man. Like I get it wrong a lot, but I don't realize it's wrong until after the fact, right? Have you ever made a mistake?
Hell yeah.
No, you haven't. You've never made a mistake. You've had unintended consequences and unintended results, but you never made a mistake. You were trying to do something that didn't turn out the way you planned it to. And when you start to realize, like, there's so many times in our life, Dave, that we beat ourselves stupid over mistakes that we made, right? Like, did you do it on purpose? Did you choose that? Did you say, you know what? I'm going to go in and do this and I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings on purpose? Never, right? Has that happened? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have I said things more than once and I'm going like, well, now knowing that reaction, I could have phrased that differently, but I never intended. And I think that's the key is, what was the intent? The intent was not to harm. The intent was, that's why, like, with as much as we do out in the open and as much speaking as I do and as many words as I say that are recorded, every once in a while, somebody will bone up on me. It's like, when you said that, and for my first line of defense is apologize. Like, hey, I'm sorry, that wasn't the intent, right? And then if it into me, it's like, wait a second, hang on a second. So this is your opportunity to steal power that you normally don't have by picking on a single word that I said. So now am I responsible for your reaction and your feelings? So I've got to monitor my words so you don't get hurt because you can't control your feelings. And we got those types of scenarios going on all the time right now. I mean, it's part of cancel culture. So the intent behind it is important. If you see the intent of the human, are there times I hear people say things, I'm like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have said that. You probably shouldn't have said it that way. Yeah, absolutely. So in this world right now, it is really hard to be authentic and it's really hard to be a leader because you get shot at a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, I authenticity, that word means an awful lot to me. It can mean an awful lot it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, right? Yeah. Authenticity can be, how you dress. You and me dress, we don't dress alike, but we have our own way of dressing, right? And that's the number one thing. And probably something that people notice about you, but that's you. That is who you are. And that's really cool. For me, it's like over the last couple of years, I've gotten a little bit away from the sport coat or the suit or whatever, right? But that was me, coat and tie, suit and tie, the whole thing. And I still wear a collar shirt mostly every day. Exactly.
Yeah, and you know what? I intentionally wore a black t-shirt today because you caught me on Monday with it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to wear a black t-shirt today. But it's funny, Dave, there's plenty of people who'll be like, oh my God, I've never seen Russ without a shirt, tie, and a vest. Because that's kind of become my brand. Right. So, again, it's like, I was at the hospital yesterday, went from work, went to the hospital. I was in the hospital the day before with my aunt, and all that stuff. And I'm dressed shirt, tie, vest, shoes, and people like, oh my gosh, you look really nice today. Like, I love those shoes, right? But I will tell you what, with that look, when I go to the airport, it's a different game, man. People react differently. They treat you completely different when you show up like that. At the hospital yesterday and the day before, I'm like, man, when I show up dressed like that, it's a completely different game. People communicate with you very, very differently when you show up like that. So some of it is in order to create a certain feel and a flavor. And some of it is just like, Dave, when I get dressed like that, I feel like freaking Superman.
So that's really cool because we can go any direction with this, but I'm going to go to the alter ego part. But I don't think that's your alter ego. I think that's you.
No, it's the real me. Like, we worked with this guy, did marriage counseling with a disc analysis guy. I got my disc test and my wife got her disc test, and this guy Alex is just so amazing. I'd be like, okay, let me explain to you fundamentally how Russ is wired. My wife is like, oh my God, you're right. And he's like, there's times when you see him doing his thing his way, and you're like, this is he's like, Russ doesn't intentionally choose to be different, look different, sound different, exist different. It's just he's just fundamentally built. He's going to do it his way, which is always different. Like for me, death would be blending in. And I don't wake up in the morning, I'm like, I'm going to stand out on purpose today. I'm just like, this is my style. This is my feel. This is my flavor. And I mismatch colors intentionally. And I mismatch patterns intentionally. I was walking through Vegas on the way to whatever, and I was just hammering along, like I normally do. Yeah. If you think I talk fast, you should see me walk. Right. So when I'm going, I was like, I'm crushing it. And this guy walks straight in front of me, tall, good looking dude dressed to the nines. And he's looked at me. He's like, I'm a fashion designer. And I want to tell you, you can't put those patterns together. The rules say you can't do that. But somehow that looks freaking fantastic. I'm gonna have to rethink the rules. I would have never put that together. And I'm standing there going like, what? Like plaid vest with plaid shirt and 2 different colors, right? So, but for me, it's just the expression of like, this is the way I feel inside. Here it is on the inside, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I want to bring this authenticity, this persona of individuals into the real estate business if I can, right? And one of the things, and it comes from actually a session I had yesterday, an impromptu session with a newer agent about video, right?
Yeah.
And man, this person's got so much energy, so much stuff. Person does need some support in scripts and stuff, and that's fine. And we've talked about that. But the person does not feel confident enough to go on video.
Right.
Okay. And
that's most people, by the way.
Yeah. So is it to a point where they should take their persona and authenticity? Do they need that for this business? Or is it something that's okay if they don't get in front of a camera?
Well, okay. All right. I feel very spicy about this.
No, I want to hear it, man.
Yeah. So 2 things. Like, one, if they're not seeing your voice and hearing your voice and seeing your face and seeing your style, seeing your vibe, there's an energy to what we do here, right? There's a feel to what we do here. Everything else is just words. Everything else is just information. This is actually communication, right? Communication is, there's a bunch more to communication than just words. So if I just post, here's some market stats versus saying, hey, this is Russ Laggan, the real estate dude. Let me tell to you about what's going on in the market right now. Here's some numbers. And by the way, here's what they mean, right? Like, that gets the ability to get a really short piece of information, but it also gets the ability to convey a feel and a style and a flavor. And by the way, everybody's like, Russ, this real estate business is hard. The real estate business is hard is because you don't stand out from the herd. So here's the problem, Dave. The problem is, as a little kid, do you have kids?
I do.
Okay. And so remember when they were little and you get the little 3-year-old cutie patootie, right? And you're like, okay, we're going out. You got to get dressed. And she comes out wearing a freaking tutu upside down. It looks like a flower. And she's got one mismatched sock and one. Yeah. Like, let's rock and roll, right? She's got pink little tidy things on. And she's got orange and purple, not the best colors together most of the time. Right. But like, hey, let's go. And she just put on whatever she felt like wearing. Right. And then you go into school and standing out makes you stand out. And then you find out standing out makes you get picked on, right? And then you go into middle school, and middle school, you really don't want to stand out. And then by high school, you're like, I want to be different. So you end up dressing just like everybody else that's different, just like you. So there's a herd of people that look just like you, different. But standing out makes you a target, right? So here we are, get into the business world, and the business world is you got to wear a shirt, tie, vest, like you got to have this thing. And for some people, yes, and for others, no. I just saw a post yesterday, and it's like, I'm sick and tired of seeing real estate agents walking around in shorts and polo shirts and flip-flops showing houses. I'm like, I would rather you wear shorts, polo shirt, and flip-flops and be competent than to be dressed to the nines and incompetent.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, look, I am really old school when it comes to that. So it's like, I've had to break away from that a bit. As I said, shirt and tie, the whole thing, jacket and tie, suit and tie, but I when we're talking about, your 3-year-old, your 4-year-old coming out and dressed like they wanted, that's their own authenticity. Yes. I think one of the biggest, and I'm just going to hit this really quickly. One of the biggest problems is, as we go along in life, dream, we tell our little kids, you can be whatever you want, do whatever you want, be whoever you want. And oh, that's so cute. But
don't do this.
Right, exactly. And when you get to be 3rd or 4th or 5th grade, it's like, get your head out of the clouds, stop dreaming. Yeah. That is the biggest mistake that the education system makes. So here's what I want to say.
This box. Do whatever you want within this box. So let's go back to the video thing, though. So the rest of that video thing is like, everything is built in to beat the uniqueness out of us. And you don't want to stand out because you become a target. And the problem is, in the real estate business, there's 1.5 million of us knuckleheads out there. And if you don't do something that stands out and makes you uniquely you, you look like the rest of the herd. They're like, everybody, all the real estate agents are the same. Well, I'll tell you what, you see me on video, you realize really quickly, I'm not the same. Now, I'm not saying you have to have this persona, this energy, this feel, this flavor, this vibe. This is just the way I communicate. Okay. When I'm passionate about something, I'm enthusiastic and passionate about something. So I want people to see your pie hole saying things, because I don't want them to think you're just relaying info. I want them to start to see you as their expert. And the only way they can see you as their expert is to hear you saying experty things.
Exactly. So I want to get to one thing. I had to rewind for a second, because there's one thing I forgot when we started this broadcast. Is a question I ask everybody, and this is to my persona, this is to my authenticity, right? Russ, what are the letters TGIF stand for?
Thank God it's not on fire.
Well, that would be a lawnmower story, but we're not going to get into that, right?
I've got one of those.
Right? Thank God it's Fanale.
Fanale. Exactly.
That's what this is all about. I mean,
this is Friday with Fanale.
I was walking down. Recently, I was in Miami at the convention, EXPCon, and I'm walking down the street with two of the guys I work with, and someone yells out from a side restaurant, a street side restaurant, says, "Thank God it's Fanale." So it was a guy who had been on the broadcast, and it was. I mean, think about that. I mean, that's my authenticity.
Right.
That's who I am.
Yeah, and it's being known for something, right? And that's part of that brand. I think we lose the fact that we are the brand, which is actually, it's funny. Somebody's like, Russ, you should have put your face on the cover of your book, because that's your brand. And I'm like, you know what? I'm actually contemplating changing the cover of the book now, just because that is the brand, right? So with that said, it's like, you've got to do the things that make you stand out, and you've got to do listen, Dave, the first couple videos I did weren't that great.
I still have the first video I did. It's on a YouTube channel, one of my YouTube channels. It's there.
I could go back to 2011 shooting video in my real estate office with a flip chart, and they weren't bad necessarily, but they weren't. They were more scripted feel, right? So now I'm much more freeform, and now I'm much more comfortable. And by the way, guys, the more you do this, the easier it gets.
It does. It does. I mean, look, when it comes to video, I understand that people are afraid to get in front of the camera because it means they have to open up. But I do know this person I'm speaking about, right? I do know some way, somehow, this person was still 3 years old once, or 4 years old once, and had their own identity as that 3 or 4 year old. And that's where I think we need to go back to, because everybody's too way freaking serious these days anyway.
Yes.
Right. Yes. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's
funny because I get people asking now, hey, Russ, how do I get better? It's like, let's do a session and teach you, right? I mean, this is a teachable skill set. A lot of it just starts with the simplest stuff. So like, jump on video, get something that reasonably looks like decent lighting. And by the way, I've got 7 lights here to create this feel. It's not always just one light. There's 7 of them floating around here to make this happen. So with that said, it's like, get in a space, get in a spot that makes you feel like, okay, I can work with this spot. Get some lighting to set up, like 2 or 3 lights. I've got a LED stick light here, stick light here, stick light here, LED. And then I've got the little cube box things. And then I've got this little thing that I made, this little light I made back here. So, get something that reasonably looks like light, and then just fire up the camera and start simple. Like, start off as like, hi, my name is Russ. Okay, stop, play it back. What most people don't realize, Dave, is that they feel like they don't feel like they sound in the real life. 2 reasons why. Number one, no matter what you record, it doesn't have the resonance of your sinus cavities and your mouth and your head and the vibrations. Like, to me, my voice sounds a lot deeper than what it really is, right? To me, when I play my voice back on video, I sound like a freaking Muppet. So get used to it, right? But you've got to practice that. So are there times when I will actually drop my voice down a little bit to be able to come across with more punch? Absolutely. When I get excited, my voice gets higher and higher and higher. And it just is the way I roll. But the key is, you got to understand, when you're doing video, you've got to bump up like 5 or 7%. Because if I just talk to you like I normally talk, it comes across on video flat. But if I bump up 4 or 5%, it comes across like you're talking to me in person. So something as small as that makes all the difference in the world. And then the second thing is gestures. So when you're talking to me, my gestures are a little bit more when I'm on video. I'm flying my hands around, right? But they're just a little bit more and it's a little bit bigger because it comes across as natural and normal. So
it does.
Just learning simple things, a couple of simple things, and then practicing. And by the way, practice too much.
Yeah, and this all goes along with the work we have to do as a real estate agent. Look, I had a call earlier. I do a call every Friday about planning and prep, and I do go off on tangents about scripts and dialogues and stuff and all this stuff. And one of the things I always want to say is, your authenticity not only goes to being on video or being the person you want to be in person, but it also goes along to when you're talking to people you don't know, right? So, we can talk about metrics. We can talk about ways to get through that. And I really do want to get into that a little bit. But your confidence factor has a lot to do, in my opinion, with your authenticity and who you really are and who you completely think you are. Yeah. And I think a way to get through that is to remember who you were and to practice being authentic. What do I mean by that? I can recite a Mike Ferry script on the phone to a for sale by owner. Hey, this is David with eXp Realty. I saw you selling your house. I know. Do you have time for a quick survey? Right. I hate that. Right. But if I say it the way I want to, hey, it's Dave. How you doing? I'm with eXp Realty. I saw you selling your home on your own. I'm really excited about whatever it is. You're going to talk about be yourself. Right. And I tell people, since I've been doing this so long, I still screw up. I made a comment to my people this week, the agents I work with. I screwed up big time on 2 calls this week. I don't know what happened, but my mind went blank. I felt like an idiot. I was so glad nobody heard me. Right. Anyway, talk about authenticity when it comes to building, and generating leads and generating business. How do we turn that to that?
Well, so 2 things. Number one, people want to do business with somebody that's passionate and enthusiastic, period. It's like you take 2 people with equal skill sets and have one of them just be more passionate, show more passion and enthusiasm. People want to do business with them most of the time. Now, there are some people who are like, I don't want to do business with Russ. He's a spaz. And some people that are really calm, I'm a spaz. Got it. I'm very enthusiastic. I'm very passionate. You get me on a topic, I'm going to freaking rock and roll and we're going full throttle. And I also have learned that knowing my information and knowing what I'm doing and knowing what I'm talking about helps immensely when I'm having conversation. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday and she's like, well, my kids decided they think they're not going to buy a house this year. I'm like, okay, cool. So let me ask you a quick question. Are they saving money to buy the house? And she's like, yeah. I said, how much money are they saving a month? And she's like, $300-400 a month. I'm like, good for them. I said, do they know that every month that they save $300 or $400, they lose $700? And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, the average price property in this market, in this immediate market, went up 5% last year, which means $10,000 on a $200,000 house. So, and 220, 230, 250 is entry level around here, which means they lost $12,000 in the last year to buy a comparable house. So they're saving $300 or $400, and the house price went up $1,000 a month. So they're 7 or 6 behind every month. So how many more months do they want to lose $700? And she's like, oh my God, I never thought of it like that. Right. And she's like, well, I think we're going to have to help them. I'm like, you should help them get in a house 5 years ago. They would be $50,000 or $70,000 ahead. Right now, because they're paying rent at $1,800 a month, they're losing $20,000 a year guaranteed. Plus, they're losing $10,000 on the house. So they're net $30,000 in the hole every year. So if you want to take your kids out of this hole, you got to put them in a position where they can actually be even on that, not lose $30,000 net every year. And she's like, I got to have a conversation. I was like, let me know if you need me to have this conversation with you and your husband and the kids, and we'll just sit down and explain it to them. This is a lady I met in the hospital.
Wow.
And she's like, but, and then she's like, well, what about? I'm like, none of that is relevant. Zero of that is relevant. She's like, but the interest rates. I'm like, your interest rate on renting a house right now and renting in the apartment is 100%. You're worried about 6.1, 6.2, 6.5 when the interest rate right now is 100% on rent, guaranteed to lose 100% of those dollars, get none of it back. Right. And she's like, I never thought of it that way. But if you don't say that with confidence, most people are like, well, maybe I can work with you and, let me know when you guys are ready. Like, you should have been ready 2 years ago, 3 years. You should have done whatever it took to make whatever happen. Be in something that is not ideal would be better than being in something that is losing you guaranteed $20,000 a year. And she's
Right.
like, oh my God. So certain level of confidence and enthusiasm and passion. She's like, wow, you really know your stuff. This is basic information, guy. This is like first grader information in real estate, but people don't convey it in a clear and concise manner with passion and enthusiasm.
And being themselves and being their authentic self. I mean, look, if being your authentic self is being boring, okay, fine. That's you.
That's
Okay,
cool.
I get that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But having the confidence to say what you have to say is really important. Like, I think one of the greatest questions we get, and I think you actually mentioned this in your book, is how's the market? Right? I think that's a great question, because guess what? We get it. If we meet 10 people, 8 people are going to say that question, right?
Dude, I'm going to be training in 3 different locations in California next week. I'm going to be in Del Mar, I'm going to be in Paso Robles, and I'm going to be in something valley right by San Francisco. And guess what I'm going to be talking about? I'm going to be talking about how to sell more houses. Guess what I'm going to be talking about? The number one recipe to sell more houses is know how to answer the stupid question, how's the market? Because we suck at that, right? That is your moment to either look like an expert, sound like an expert, or look like an idiot, or look like another panhandler. Well, do you know anybody thinking about buying or selling a house? I can help you. Panhandler. Yeah, nobody wants to deal with a panhandler, right?
Right.
It's my opportunity to convert, and you got to learn how to convert that. By the way, I built a whole system on how to convert that. 8 modules on how to do that. And like 3 simple recipes to get people to come to you and have people start to see you as an expert. I built 8 modules of that. It's online.
How do people get that module?
I'm not selling anything here. So jumpstartmasterclass.com. It's literally 3 recipes I teach. By the way, in the videos, I have a bald head. No hair.
Yes, I was actually going to say that. Be careful.
It freaks people
when you see that. That was not meant to come out. It's just, we were going to talk about that later, but I want to talk to you more about this. So someone says, I used to say to somebody, what do you say when you say, how's the market? And people say, oh, it's great. Oh, could use more listings. Oh, the market sucks. What's a better answer, Russ?
Well, so Joe, this is what I go into in detail. And when I say this, people are like, oh my God, holy crap, I've been doing it wrong my whole life. And it really is simple, right? So let's look at how human beings work first, and then I'm going to give you the exact how to answer that. Okay.
Great.
Here's how human beings work. When somebody asks you a question and you do any version of a sales pitch, they don't tend to come to you. Have you ever done your elevator pitch and somebody's like, oh my God, Dave, tell me more? No. Have you ever done your elevator pitch and they're like, oh my gosh, Dave, I should give you all of my personal information? Never, right? So like I went out there, I'm beating my head against the wall. I'm like, this is stupid. This is awkward. This is weird. No matter which way I did any one of 400 versions of elevator pitch. And then I, part of this, by the way, read a book called The Little Black Book of Sales by Jeffrey Gitomer, and Little Black Book of Connections. And he's like, when you interact with somebody, figure out something, like find a way to benefit them, make their life better, or make a connection for them. So when I'm out networking, I'm like, I'm out trying to get connections. I'm out networking, trying to figure out, okay, Dave, what do you need most in your business? Cool. As I'm going about through here, I may bump into somebody that needs that. So what do you need right now in your business? If I bump into somebody that needs that, I'll drag them over to you. So I actually go in and I play this, remember the memory game?
Yep.
You get an apple. Hey, by the way, apple meet apple. And then Dave, you're going like, oh my God, I love this Russ guy. He's introduced me to 4 people that are the perfect clients for, exactly what I'm looking for. And then people love me because I'm helping them make connections. And by the way, I'm also making connections while I'm doing it too. So when we're going in, the first thing you've got to do is when somebody asks you a question, instead of trying to get something from them and trying to sales pitch them or elevator pitch them, when they ask me a question, the first thing I'm going to say is there something that I can give them that fits their bill? It's like a guy walks up to a hamburger stand with a big sign that says hamburgers. He's like, hey man, you got a hamburger? I want a hamburger. I'm like, would you like this hamburger? And he's going to say what every time? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's very angry. Offer to give me a hamburger. So when you think how human nature works, they ask you, how's the market? Then here's the response. You know what, Dave? I just did a market update last week. Tells you what's going on in the market. You want me to send it to you? And you say what?
What?
Yeah.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. Where would you like me to send it? And they voluntarily give you their, Dave, you asked me earlier.
I love that
question. And I'm like, okay, here it is. Here's like, you asked me a question. I'm like, yeah, here it is. Right. So somebody says, how's the market? I say, you know what? People ask me that all the time. I just did a market update. I do it every month. You want me to send it to you? And they're going to say, yeah. And I said, and by the way, in this market right now, is in Indianapolis on Tuesday, In Indianapolis right now, the inventory has doubled in the last 2 years. And you guys are up to a 2.3 month supply of homes. So if it doubles again, you're still a seller's market. And they're all like, what?
Right. Right.
So I pull out one little nugget and now they're like, I like this guy. This guy gave me a factual. It's like a lot of people right now are asking this question. Is this a good market? Is this not a good market? Is it a good time to buy? Is it not a good time? Well, it depends on where you are in the country, of course. But like in Detroit, Michigan, 2.3 month supply of homes, 2.2 month supply of homes currently, which means if you get a house that's priced right, this is what the lady was saying yesterday. My kids have looked at houses and there's multiple offers on every house that they like. And people are doing bidding wars still on every house that they've looked at in the last year. And people are going like, well, Russ, it's not like that here. Cool. Great. So by the way, we're no longer in a spot where so pull out that little nugget that tells people where we are. If you don't own a house right now, you should be buying one no matter what. At a 2.3 month supply of homes, prices are going to keep going up. Indianapolis is the same way. Detroit is the same way. By the way, I'm in Chicago 2 weeks from now, probably the same way. Southern Florida, Fort Lauderdale, 9.8 month supply of homes. Guess what house prices are doing there? They're going flat. They went flat, right? Some of them are doing a little bit of a decline to get out. So some people are actually having to lower their price to be able to get out in the time that they want to get out because it's taken a lot longer than they normally thought to sell a house. So they're like, I can drop the price and get out. Okay. So Naples, Florida, same way. They were at 12 month supply of homes are down back to around 8 right now, last I heard, which is the last 2 or 3 months, right? So they're actually coming back a little bit because the price has dropped a little bit and people are like, oh, let's go buy something. Okay. So interest rates just dropped again. They dropped, I saw 6.1 yesterday. 6.1% down from 7.3, 7.4, right? 6.5 down to 6.1. Every time it goes down 0.5% on a $300,000 house, it saves somebody about $80,000 over the life of a loan. So is it worth making a look and like taking that run now? Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So it's being able to articulate simple, clean, concise, something that is in it for them. So, and that's the whole series, 8 modules in Jumpstart Masterclass start off was like, let's build your list and then let's start to talk like an expert. So people see you as an expert and you build credibility. And then once you build credibility, then by the way, you're around houses all the time. Yeah. And houses break all the time. Yeah. So shouldn't you have some resources for that? So when somebody has something break on a house, they call me. If they call me when something's going to break on a house, guess who they're going to call when it's time to sell? If they're not calling me and asking me who my favorite plumber is currently, then there's no chance they're going to call me and ask me to list their house. So it's simple things like that that make the difference.
And one of the things that does, Russ, and I know you know this, is that, it shows confidence in what you're doing. It's more exciting to say something. It's more exciting to talk about what you know than what you think or something selfishly, because you gave them facts. You said nothing about yourself, because let's face it, right? Nobody cares about you till they know you care about them. And how do you do that? You do that with questions. You do not do that with I, we, or how great I am. So it's confidence. Go ahead.
This carries over into attraction and building businesses too. So keep in mind, guys, like that jumpstartmasterclass.com is just how to build a sphere of influence business. If you're building a lawn mowing company, by the way, sphere of influence business should be a sphere of influence. This is connecting with the people you're most likely to connect to. And by the way, we're talking about like start doing things with people you love, doing the things that you love. Like I built my business mountain biking. In the early days, it's like the people I was doing deals with were people I mountain biked with. I'm like, well, I should double down on that, right? So you start doing things with people that you enjoy doing things with, and next thing you know, you can become over time their expert. But when you're talking about attraction and building businesses, which there's a lot of that in the book, when you're talking about doing that, you've got to be really, really clear and really intentional that when you're having conversations with people, if you can show them how they can get to where they want to go by being around you, they're going to want to be around you.
Yeah, and I think that's really a great point. Getting back to the video thing or whatever we want to talk about when it comes to confidence and showing who you are and your authenticity. There's a book out there called The Black Line by Michelle Berman Michael, who talks about, talk from the space that you love to do. Like, for instance, I love to play golf, right? And the suggestion for that would be, do your videos on a golf course, do your videos at a golf range, do your videos on all this stuff, right? And you know what? I forgot a lot of that. And now I'm getting back into it, and I'm having a lot more fun being me than anything else.
Well, better yet, let's take it next level, right? So here's how I would coach into that, coach, right? You like golfing, so once a week I want you to be in a golf league, right? I'm going to be in a golf league. And when I'm in the golf league, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey guys, what do you do? Because what I do, and part of my role, I mean, I do house stuff, but I help promote other people's businesses. So part of what I do in my business is promoting other people's business. What do you do? You're a financial advisor. Great. Hey, I'm Russ, the real estate dude. Check this out. Here's Dave, the financial advisor. If you need somebody to help you figure out, like, when am I going to retire? How am I going to retire? If you don't have a plan, you need to know this guy. If you don't have any money, you really need to know this guy. Because most people say, oh, okay, I don't need a financial advisor. Don't have any money, Russ. You definitely need a financial advisor to help guide you in the part where you're getting some money. So here's Dave, my guy. Reach out to him. And Dave's like, right. Are you freaking serious, Russ? Like, I do a golf league. They put me with 3 other knuckleheads every week. It's like, there's 3 this week, and there's 3 next week, and 3 next. There's 12 in a month. There's 144 in a year. And by the way, if you do a good job working your sphere, you should be able to convert it at 8 to 10%, which means that's 14 more sales if you do a good job. That's 10 more sales if you do a decent job. That's 6 more sales if you just do a mediocre job. 6 times 10,000 average commission plus or minus is 60 more grand to play golf. Go golfing more.
And the last 5 minutes was a masterclass on how to build a sphere of influence by networking. Plain and simple. I love that, man. And it's so cool because, you know, I did join a golf league this year in one of the places I'm at. And, you know, I'm on the second time I'm playing with this one guy. You know, we're introducing ourselves. So I'm still the new guy. They call it the FNG. You can tell what that means, right? And this one guy who I met once goes, hey, look, you know, Fanale here, you know, you don't need anything about real estate. He's your guy. And I'm talking to the guy who invented Disney Plus.
Wow.
So anyway, long story short, well, let's keep going, right? Confidence. I want to talk about taking all this, Russ, and getting into the actual thing that agents did not get into this business for, called lead generation, right? Yeah. They didn't get into this business for it. They got a license where, okay, you know, let's go to a house and write a contract, you know, and then let's go to a closing and get a check. That's how they got into this business. Yes. You know, they didn't get into this business to make cold calls. They didn't get into this business. I tell you what, if you did this on the first day of licensing class, we would have less realtors in this business right now.
I agree.
But we don't tell them that it's a job, right? You know, and I love this because I got this from Grant Wise. He says, you can't judge a fish on their ability to climb a tree.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
So what we got to do is we got to teach the fish how to climb a tree, even though they don't want to, but we got to make it fun. Yeah. So how do we get from that licensing to the lead gen to being good at it to enjoying it? Can we do that?
Yeah. The answer is a resounding no. Our whole industry is trying to shove people into doing a job that they didn't sign up for. So, Dave, I've stood in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people this year. And every time I'm in a smaller group, like 300 or less, right, I'll be like, how many of you guys signed up to be a telemarketer? None of them, right? How many of you guys thought, I can't wait to cold call, right? Like every once in a while, right? I'm like, here's the problem. The problem is if we're asking people to do things that are disingenuous or out of integrity with them, whether they know it or not, let's define integrity. Doing something to somebody else that you don't want done to you, right? In the back of your mind, when you're doing something to somebody else that you hate, like I hate it when somebody knocks on my door, unless it's UPS or FedEx, right? Like Amazon knocks on my door, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. Everybody else, everyone, lock and load. It's like, what? Like, I don't want to be bothered when I'm at my house, right? When I'm at my house, it's sacred time because I give 100% of myself. When I'm out and about, I literally give all of it. I leave it all on the field every time. So when I'm home, I'm in my corner, quiet time. You know, I hide because I recharge. I'm actually an introvert. I recharge being by myself. Okay. People, every time I interact, I give up a piece of myself to somebody. And at the end of the day, I'm out of pieces. So I got to put pieces back in. Right. So with that said, so number one, our industry goes in and they don't tell them up front what the deal is, which is you are a marketing person. Right. Secondly, then we try to shame them into doing things that they don't want to do or doing things that they hate. Like if you hate people randomly calling you, cold calling you, you damn well better not do that to other people. Right. Because that's a bullshit way of living life, right? Do unto others, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, came from my church days. Do unto others. It's factual, right? So it goes out of sync. And then next thing you know, you get to this point where you're like, can you do it? Like, listen, if you don't love running, You can make somebody run. You can get them to run some. They can run a little bit. But when the opportunity comes and you're like, do you really want to go for a run today? I don't know. Like, you're going to find a way to not do the thing that you don't love to do. A person that loves to run, man, that you can't stop those people. Okay. So here's the shift. The shift is stop thinking lead generation, stop thinking marketer, stop thinking cold caller, stop thinking door knocker, stop thinking all of those things, and stop thinking lead generation. Start thinking relationship building. Right? Because the reality, this is a relationship business. This is a people business. And if you do the things that make it about them and you do the things that actually add value, you're going to have business come to you. So what happens is our real estate industry teaches people how to chase, constantly teaching them how to chase. Well, the human condition is when somebody starts to chase you, most of the time you're going to run just by reacting. You're going to run. So we set up a scenario where we put up a flag and like, I've got hamburgers. And guess what? The dude that stands in a line wants a hamburger. The guy behind that guy wants a hamburger. The guy behind that guy wants a hamburger, and girl behind that one. Every one of those people wants a hamburger. So what we've got to start doing is like, hey guys, I'm a hamburger stand. Put up a big hamburger sign, right? Put yourself in a spot where like, hey, there's hungry people. Did you hear the story about that kid that killed it with the Girl Scout that killed it with selling Girl Scout cookies? She put up her little freaking stand next to the weed dispensary. Freaking brilliance. Right. And they're like, I don't know if we should be promoting that. Right. Like, I don't know if that promotes our. And there's a bunch of people got all butthurt about it. But like, actual true story. They like, listen, man, you put your cookie store next to a weed dispensary, they're going to sell some freaking cookies. Right. So we got to start putting ourselves in the way to get into the business. So Dave, let me ask you a question. How do you get hit by a bus?
Walk in front of it.
Stand on a bus route, right? You got a shot of getting hit by. So people are like, well, I don't understand why I can't get hit by a bus. I'm like, well, you're standing in a field. Like, when was the last time you saw a bus drive over where you're standing? If you stand on a spot where buses go all the time, you're going to get hit by a bus if you're not careful, right? So we've got to start thinking like really simple. How do I build a relationship? And instead of approaching the relationship, how do I get something from these people? I'm just trying to get some sales. Russ, I just need to get some sales. I was like, you got to add some value. You got to add some value. And by the way, let your pie hole be the pie hole that's saying experty stuff, really simple. Don't have to be complicated. Just here's a number and here's what it means. And people go, that guy's smart. Right. So put yourself in a position where that happens consistently and then look at it over the next 12 months. I mean, the whole reason I put those 8 modules together is like, here's the things you do every single week, every single month, every single quarter, every single year. You do this for the next 12 months and people are going to start to go, that's my guy. That's my girl. That's the person I want to do business with. The person like, hey, plumbing, I got a leak. I'm going to call Russ. He knows everybody.
That's right. Yeah. And it's like, well, here in New Jersey, I got a guy.
Yes. Right. I got a guy. Right. Like, I know, Frank Panunto is one of my favorite humans in the world. Right. And he's like, yeah, I got a guy. Like he's Delaware, right? Basically Jersey, basically New York. Yeah, I got a guy for that.
Yeah, I got it. No worries. I know a guy.
I've been saying like everybody needs a Wally. I got a Wally. And they're like, what do you I'm like, Wally's the guy that literally you can give him a list of like all that stupid list of shit you don't want to do on your house. Like I can hand that to Wally and for like $400, he'll eliminate the whole honeydew list in a day. Right. You got that house, the buyer comes in, there's a bunch of little nickel and dime crap. It's like, don't worry about it. I got a Wally. If we get a little list of nickel and dime crap, the GFI is busted. You got that one outlet we don't know what that tech is doing. The light switch that goes to who knows where. You got the outlet cover that's not on in the attic that nobody knows why there's not a cover on the stupid thing, and the double tap. And you got that little list of stupid crap. You need to recaulk this. You need to fix a window balancer. That list of every single freaking house has this list of stuff. Wally can fix it all in a day. It's $400. So are we going to have an argument and start a brawl over $400? I'm going to say to the buyer, listen, for $400, the whole thing goes away. And your guy's going to do it right versus handing it over to the homeowner who duct tapes and baling wires it. Right. So have a Wally, get a Wally.
So I do want to get into one other thing that you discuss in a bit in detail in the book. And it has a lot to do with uniqueness, has a lot to do with lead generation, but it's about making it work and making it fun, having to do with what you built with your 30-point system, which I really think made a lot of sense because a lot of people say, I got 2 hours to go, or what do I got to do? And I think this is really cool because I actually will be using it starting Monday because it's just so cool. So talk to me about that because it's really, really cool.
All right. So Dave, let's go back to the good old days, right? So I learned how to build my business knowing 0 people in a market getting destroyed. I'd moved from Detroit to Tampa in the end of 2005. Tampa got smoked in 06. They were leading the pack getting smoked because it was a lot of second-time home buyers, a lot of second home buyers. A lot of people in Jersey and New York who were like, I can buy a $350,000 house down there. I'll take the equity out of my house, buy a house cash. And then they're upside down. And, so that market went, woof. Okay. So one of the things that I learned is that every day I feel like I'm always on, and I feel like I always have to be on.
Right.
And I get to the end of the day and I'm like, I always feel like I should be doing more, And so we had a interaction with my wife that goes like this, and she'll swear this isn't how it went, but it's the way it felt to me. So it's accurate. Okay. And she's like, well, that's not what, but this is the way it felt to me. So my feelings are valid, honey. She's like, yes. The way I feel is valid, regardless of whether it's accurate or not. So it's an inside joke. 31 years married. So with that said, at the end of the day, I feel like my wife's like, so what did you do today? I was like, I worked. She's like, I worked hard. And she's like, on what? I'm like, stuff. And the question wasn't, what did you do today? The question was, when are we going to get a freaking check? Right? Like, when do you think you're going to have something under contract? When do you think you're going to have another closing? Right? That's the question behind the question behind the question, right? So ultimately, we've got to start saying, how do we set ourselves up so we say, okay, I know I did what I was supposed to do today. I know I did my job today. So I built my 30-point system, and I'm like, okay, if I get X amount of points doing this, this, and this, and by the way, if you want to accelerate it, you can do 60 a day. It's not hard to do 60 points in a day. Okay. So I started establishing a points. It's like, if I wrote a contract, whether it got accepted or not, that's freaking 10 points. There's 20 points if I write a contract, right? So if I add somebody to my sphere of influence, it's 10 points. So if I add 3 people to my sphere today, I'm done for the day.
There you go.
Look, what am I going to do today to go out and like, okay, I'll go golf today. I meet 3 people. Boom, I'm done for the day. Is that a good day? Yeah, because if I add 3 people to my sphere and then I do the follow-up and I add value month after month after month after month, I know there's going to be a conversion over time. So part of my job is meeting new people and adding people to my sphere and then add value. If I do something adds value, I give myself points for that, right? At the end of the week, I have 150 points, and I get to the end of the day. When I get to my 30, then the rest of the day, I can do whatever I want. I feel like I can do whatever I want. It's like I did my job today, and I know I can move the ball. So in the early days when you got nothing else to do 60 points a day. And then you get 30 done and you're like, I got 7 more hours left. What do I do? Like, do 60 points a day until you get the ball, and then go to make sure you always maintain 30. It's the money making activities and the front end loaded stuff that you have to do. The rest of it is secondary.
Yeah, and I used an example of I don't know if you know who Rob Corbucci is. He's a friend of mine, coach and big into a lot of different things. And he said that once I got a qualified appointment, I could go play golf.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is like most people like go play golf and that's you're off. But like I'm saying, once I get to there, I'm going to go play golf, and then I'm going to bump into some areas. Like, how's the market? I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. Now here it goes again. Like, now I did my job, and then I accidentally got 30 more points having fun. I go bike ride, and next thing you know, I got 30 more having a beer on the back of the pickup truck. And the guy's like, hey, so what's going on in the market? It's like, I got to market it to you. I'm saying, yeah, sure. Boom.
And look, everybody, when we talk about lead generation, we've gone through a lot of stuff today, and it doesn't seem like it, but we really did. And one of the things that's really important is your energy, right? And energy, you need the energy. You can't be Eeyore, right? You got to have the energy, And one of the things I just want to tell everybody, right? Be authentic. The thing to start being authentic with is when you wake up, you got to get out of bed every day. For me, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to get out of bed. So I stopped that. I started saying, it's going to be a great day today. If you jump out of bed, your spouse might be pissed off at you, but if you jump out of bed, your day gets started so much easier. Yeah. I want to tell you that. But anyway, hey, man, you know what? I mean, we could go on and on and on. This is so much. I'm going to call this part 1 because I'm going to get you back on in a few months and pick up.
Maybe back on for 400.
Yeah. For what?
400.
Yeah, we can do that.
400, baby. I want 400.
400? All right. You got 400.
It's 11 weeks away.
That's in 11 weeks. Okay, that's in 11 weeks. You're on for 400. You got it.
Good, baby.
All right. Anyway, I'll send you the date. Anyway, man, this has been so good. If you had one bit of advice that you could give any agent out there that would help them build their business, if there's some magic pill you could give them, what would it be?
The simplest 2 steps, right? Add people to your sphere of influence every single week doing something you love, and then make sure you're adding value every single week or every single month at minimum, right? Add people, add value. The business starts coming to you. It makes it 1,000 times more simple. At first, it seems like it's going nowhere. And the next thing you know, that ball's rolling. And next thing you know, that ball's out of control.
Absolutely 100%. And look, guys, we've got Russ's contact information, scroll on the bottom. His Instagram is there. Make sure you go follow him on Instagram. There's some great stuff there. And just so you all know, we're doing this again next week for 390. And we've got, if you could put that on, Nelson, who we got coming up. We have Charity Masoudi coming on. If you don't know Charity, you're going to know Charity. She knows how to help you start your business, get rolling with your business. And I've had the blessings of knowing her since COVID, when she was on a call with us. We did calls every night during COVID and after that. So it was really cool. But anyway, Russ, two things and then we'll be done, because I know you got to rock. I got to rock. How can I help you grow your business?
You're doing it right now, having me out here. I mean, I've got multiple businesses. My business is growth and growing the company, which is my favorite thing in the world to do, helping people grow. So reach out to me if you need help with growth. If you've got something you need, we've got a team of people that work on that. And then, buy the book. That book is a passion project. It's kind of a piece of me that I put out there, which is kind of interesting, and put it in the hands of people that can use that and figure out how, everybody's a leader. You are a leader. You got to lead yourself first, right? And then once you get good at that, then other people are going to follow you, and it makes your life 1,000 times easier if people want to follow you.
Excellent. I love that. I mean, I've been so fortunate to be able to have people like you on that have written books, and I've made it the point that I need to read that book. They just keep getting better and better. Hey man, one last thing and then we're done. I know you heard about this, and maybe you don't wear them all the time, but we got the hat. We got the hat coming out to you soon.
All right. I'll tell you what, here's the thing though, man. I wear hats when I'm in the shop. So I do a lot of woodwork and I do a lot of forging and stuff. So if you're okay with it, that hat will end up with sawdust all over it. And that's a good hat to me, is one that, if it doesn't have sawdust on it, it ain't one of my hats.
That's very cool. Hey man, thank you so much. Stay on as we go off real quick. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Stay warm out there if you're in the Northeast. Take care.